All right, everybody, warm welcome. The highest in me bows to the highest in you. May this be a beautiful day of your life. So warm welcome to all of you who have joined this call. Some of you know me from before. Some of you might be meeting me for the first time. So warm welcome to all of you. These sessions are somewhat agenda-less. What I mean by that is that there's no specific agenda that we have to learn something, teach something, experience something, get to some point. Nothing wrong with having an agenda, nothing wrong with having a purpose. It's also once in a while quite refreshing to have a space where there's no pressure to get anywhere, do anything, experience anything, become anything, learn anything. And perhaps in a world where it's very much based on, making the most of our time, making the most of everything. It's a little refreshing to have a change in pace once in a while. I'm currently in New York City, and if you look out the window, you'll notice everyone's walking fast. Everyone's in a rush. Maybe some of you in Bombay and big cities like that can recognize everyone's places to go, things to be done. One of my favorite quotes is that having no destination, I'm never lost. Having no destination, I'm never lost. Many years back, I think it was 2006 or 7, I offered a 2-day workshop, which I called a joy shop. And I was still a monk at the time. And a friend of mine, Kiran, had said, can you share some of the things you've been learning with us? So when I came to India, I was living in Sri Lanka at the time. When I came to India, then in Pune, we had a gathering. And on the second day, I was inspired to tell people, please take 2 hours, leave everything here. So leave your phones and your bags and everything in the house, in the place we were having this gathering. I just want you to wander for the next 2 hours and go with the mindset of a king in disguise. What does it mean? Back in the days, it is said that kings would pretend to be an ordinary person to see what's actually happening in their kingdom. Because ultimately, how much can you rely on informers and spies and ministers? You have to see things firsthand sometimes. So the king would disguise himself as an ordinary person and would spend several days in the kingdom to get a sense of what's really going on. So outwardly, they look like an ordinary person, but inwardly, they know they're the king. So I said, go like a king, which means that you're not expecting anything. What does it mean to go like a king? You're not expecting anything from anybody. You're not trying to achieve anything. You're just going to see what is the state of the world, what's happening. The other version is go like a bodhisattva, or go like an avatar. What's a bodhisattva? What's an avatar? Someone who's just here to bless, just here to spread blessings and good wishes, and just wants to uplift people, not wanting anything from anybody. So they had these 2 hours, they had to go and they could walk anywhere, they could do anything. If they didn't want to talk to anyone, that was fine. They could just go and sit somewhere. If they wanted to interact with people, that was fine. And when people came back from those 2 hours, they had amazing stories to share. Everybody had so much to talk about the experience they had. And I'm sure if you met those people from that workshop today, they would still clearly remember what they did in those 2 hours. They would tell you what happened. Someone went and sat under a big tree, and then an old man came and they had a powerful conversation, very simple but beautiful conversation with that old man. Somebody went to a shop and appreciated what a nice, clean shop it is. And that led to a nice conversation. somebody saw these little kids and invited them, come. And he gave ice cream to all the kids. And the kids were totally surprised and so happy, like, whoa, somebody's giving us ice cream. So everybody had their own experience. And it was a very heart-opening experience for them. And you know why? Because they walked without wondering, what will I get from this? Yeah. I have to buy something. I have to meet someone. They just went. There's no specific person to meet. There's no specific thing to buy. There's no specific agenda. Just walk. The Buddha once said to his monks, he said, Charat bhikkhave charikan, bahujan hitai, bahujan sukhai, lok anukampai. I love those words. So this was when the first 500 monks had gotten realized. The Buddha ramped up pretty quickly. He had 5 friends, Panchavagya, 5 friends. He first taught them. In fact, you should know that the first student actually, it was a failure. The Buddha actually failed. The Buddha was walking from Bodh Gaya to Sarnath. And on the way, a man who was also a seeker, he was looking for enlightenment. He was looking for deeper meaning in life. So he could see that there's something magnetic about this Buddha is walking, something magnetic about him. He said, who are you? So the Buddha said, I'm the enlightened one. I'm the all-knowing one. He said, it must be. So he went. So the Buddha said, yeah, right. You're the enlightened one. So the Buddha realized that's not the right approach. To proclaim I'm the enlightened one, I'm the all-knowing one. That's not a very good approach. So when it came to his friends in Sarnath, the deer park, then with those friends, he took a different approach. He didn't proclaim what he knew. He proclaimed that, there is stress and suffering in our life. And that is not coming randomly. That has a cause. And there is a way to end the cause. There is the ending of the cause, and there's a way to end the cause. And that's how he taught the first group of monks. And he spent a few weeks with them. And then when all of them had got it, then he moved on to Banaras, which is close to Sarnath. And there were these 500 fire-worshipping ascetics. And he taught them the fire sermon, that everything is burning. Everything is burning with greed, hatred, and delusion. You see, this moment is so beautiful, isn't it? Until you bring in, this is not right, that is not right, I need more of this, I need more of that. And you stop recognizing what's there, and you go into your fantasy world of what should be there, what could be there. I think many of us here, sometimes me as well, we have a PhD in how to mess up heaven. How to mess up heaven. Go to heaven and you mess it up. What's wrong? What's missing? So anyway, so when these 500 monks had gotten enlightened, the Buddha said this beautiful phrase to them, Charat bhikkhave charikam. What does it mean? Charat bhikkhave charikam. Monks, start walking. Start walking. Bahujan hitai, bahujan sukhai. Hitai, for the hit, किसी के हित के लिए कुछ करते हैं, मतलब for the benefit of someone. Sukhai is for the happiness of. So, bahujan, of the many, for the benefit of the many, and for the happiness of the many. Bahujan hitai, bahujan sukhai, lok anukampai. Anukampa means compassion. Not from what can I get from these people, but out of compassion for all. Charat bhikkhave charikam, bahujan hitai, bahujan sukhai, lok anukampai. And he further added that, now don't get into your favorite groups. Oh, you come with me, you come. Everyone go in different directions. No 2 people should go together. And imagine they've just gotten awakened. They really don't know too much more. In a way, you've just, think of it like this. You got healed of an old disease. You've gotten healed of the disease. You're not an expert doctor yourself. All you know is you've gotten healed of a disease. But this is enough. The Buddha says, just start walking. We'll take care of everything as it happens. The story goes that one of the original 5 disciples, Asaji, he's walking calmly and peacefully from village to village, place to place. And he comes to this one village, and a young man sees him. young man called Sariputra sees him. He said, this man is different. He's walking very calmly, very peacefully. He's in no rush. He's calmly going from house to house. You know, in the original tradition, you don't ask for food. You just walk silently. You don't ring doorbells and say Bhiksham Dehi. This is actually not the correct form. Nothing is asked for. You walk silently. If you can pause outside the house. You can't ring the doorbell. I don't know, back then they had doorbells or what, but you're not allowed to say anything. Just quietly stand outside for a minute or two. If someone notices, well and good. If no one notices, move on. So that's what he was doing. Imagine how dignified it is. You're walking calmly down the street, your eyes are downcast, and you will stand outside the house for a minute or two. No one responds, you move on. Move on. Someone gives you food, you receive it. So he was very impressed. This is very nice. This man is so dignified, nice demeanor. He knows something. I want to learn from this person. But it's not appropriate to disturb him on his walk. Let him finish. So he quietly follows him. He finishes, he gets enough food, he sits under a tree, he has his food. So once Sariputra notices that, oh, he's done with his meal. So then he approaches him respectfully and says, sir, you seem to have some wisdom, knowledge. You seem to be a wise being. Can you give me some teachings? Now, Asaji is supposed to be a fully enlightened being, Arahant, fully enlightened. But imagine look at the humility. He says, I'm new on this path. I'm new in these teachings. I do not have any teachings to give. I've learned this from my teacher. I have no teachings to give. He says, come on, you must give me something. You can't just leave me empty-handed. So then Asaji says, he just says one verse, and I'm forgetting the Pali verse. It's quite beautiful, but I'll tell you the English translation. It goes like this. Of that which arises, the beginning has been shown. That which passes, the ending has been shown. So basically he's saying everything in this world has an arising and a passing. This call began a few minutes back. It's continuing, and at some point this call will also end. This sentence has a beginning, it has an ending. Every word I'm saying has a beginning and ending. Every breath you're taking, it has an arising. There is an arising of all component things. There is an arising and a passing. The arising has been shown and the ending. And imagine a fruit that is so ripe that even if a feather touches it, it falls. It's so ripe. It's just on the brink of falling. You know? So Sariputra was a wise being like that. He was on the brink. He just needed, samazdar ke liye ishara kafi. For one who's smart, intelligent, a slight indication is enough. They get it. Sariputra was that kind of a being. And he got it. He understood, oh, everything arises, everything passes away. Everything arises, everything passes away. And that was his first glimpse. And he stabilized that over the next few months when he went to meet Buddha, along with his other friend, Mahamoggallana. So what I love about the story is that years later, so Sariputra went on to become the right-hand disciple of the Buddha, and Mahamoggallana became the left-hand disciple. Right-hand means Sariputra was foremost in wisdom, and Mahamoggallana was foremost in psychic powers. And they were very good friends. In fact, they promised each other. This is what happened. Sariputra and Moggallana promised each other, whoever finds the truth first will tell the other. So when he got this knowledge, he immediately went and told his friends, Mahamoggallana, I met this person, he told me this. And he repeated the same verse to him. And Mahamoggallana was equally ripe, so he also got his first glimpse. So then they both went to the Buddha. And the Buddha welcomed them like he knew them forever. He welcomed them like, old family members. Because the Buddha knew that these two have practiced a long time to come and be with me. Many wonderful stories. You should study the Jataka. Jataka are past life stories of the Buddha. There are countless past lives of Sariputra, Mahamoggallana, along with the Buddha. Many, many past lives like that. Very touching, very moving lives. So anyway, so this happens. And then for many years after that, people notice that every night Sariputra bows in some direction before he sleeps. He bows in some direction before he sleeps. Is he still following his Brahmanical practices? These bowing to direction? Oh, this is not a Buddhist teaching. Bow to a direction. So they get suspicious that he's actually not a true monk. So they go to the Buddha and complain. Sariputra fellow, every night he's bowing to some direction. Is he bowing to some other deity, or Is he bowing to some direction? What is he up to? Some ritual from his Brahminical times. So they criticize him. So the Buddha knows what's happening, but he calls Sariputta and says, explain yourself. What's this? What's going on? So Sariputta says, Lord, before I met you, I met Asaji. And even though you have shown me so much, Asaji was my original teacher, even before you. So every night, I get information on where Asaji is staying at present. Which part of the country is he staying at? And I turn myself in that direction and I bow down 3 times out of gratitude to him. So more than the Buddha, he pays respects to Asaji because he was the beginning. For me, he was the beginning. He was the one that even led me to you. How beautiful is that? So his whole life, he would bow in that direction before sleeping. Thanks to you, I got these teachings. This is the power of gratitude. So powerful. There's also a story of the friendship of Sariputta and Mahamoggallana. They were such good friends. But they both had very different abilities. Sariputta was very deep in wisdom, very, very profound wisdom. And Mahamoggallana had very profound psychic powers. So one time, the story goes that Sariputta is sitting and meditating. And monks have these bald heads, so they can get quite shiny if you recently shave them. So there is this, what's called a yakka in Buddhism, some kind of a ogre, some kind of a, you could say, negative being. This ogre does not like this shiny head of Sariputra. He gives him a solid blow. But Sariputra is in the 4th jhana. It's a kind of samadhi state. So in that samadhi state, these things don't really affect. So anybody else, their head would have been blown off. But because he's in the 4th jhana, he had that solid blow from the yakka, nothing really happens. And Mahamoggallana witnesses this from the outside. So when Sariputra emerges from the meditation, Mahamoggallana says, are you all right? He says, yes, I just have a slight headache. Slight headache? That big yakka came and he slammed you on the head and you only have a slight headache. How amazing, how miraculous, how amazing you are. He says, I did not see any yakka. How amazing you are, you see all these things. I never saw any yakka. I never saw any other being. All I know is I have a slight headache. So they both had very different abilities. Fun stories. If you ever go to Bodh Gaya, you will see a tree close to the Bodhi tree. Actually, now there's not a tree there, there's a temple there. It's a bit of a hillock. It's a slight, small hill, mound, you could call it. And the story goes that after the Buddha was enlightened, he spent 1 week on that mound, looking at the Bodhi tree. Why would he do that? Because after he got enlightened, he said, who do I give thanks to? Who do I give thanks to? I have to give thanks to someone. But since this knowledge had come to him internally, inwardly. In fact, first he said, let me teach. He had 2 previous teachers, Alad Kalam and Uddak Ramput. He said, let me go and teach them. But they'd already passed on. One second. They'd already passed on. And because of that, there was no way to teach. They'd gone to the Brahma realm. So it's not possible to teach in that realm. Arupa Brahma realm. It's so far beyond this world that you can't really teach there. They have to finish that journey and come back. So he says, I can't teach them. But who do I pay respects to? Who can I be grateful to? He said, I will be grateful to this dharma itself. This dharma I have discovered, I will be grateful to it itself. So he bows down. At that time, there was no Sangha. So he bowed. The Buddha bows down to the dharma. And then later on, when the monks, other people start coming, then the Sangha begins. But until then, there's only Buddha and dharma. And then who else can he's looking for things to be grateful to, people to be grateful. Who can I be grateful to? So then he says, oh, this tree protected me all through the night. This tree supported me all through the night. This tree, like a mother, held me in her lap the whole night. I will be grateful. So he goes and stands on that mound. And the story goes that he stands for 7 days and 7 nights, looking unblinkingly at the tree with gratitude. Now, see, some of you will say, oh, these are legends, and how can you stand for 7 days, and how can you unblinking? But that's not the point. The point is, look at the attitude. the attitude of having such profound gratitude. Have we even had, forget about one day and one night, have we even, for 10 minutes in our life, had continuous gratitude for our parents? They've done a lot more for you than any tree has done for anybody. Have you in your entire life, for 10 full minutes, sat and had nothing but grateful thoughts for your parents? Maybe not everybody here can say yes, they have. You may have had for a minute or half a minute. But have you had for 10 minutes? For half an hour? For 1 hour? Yes, there are many things you don't like about how they brought you up. But they did the best they could, given what they knew. The Buddha once said that if your parents gave you a reasonably functioning body and a reasonably functioning mind, and nothing else, they literally gave birth to you and they dropped you on the side of the road. The Buddha said that is enough for you to be grateful to them for the rest of your life. They've given you a foundation from which you can get free. To get this body and mind is a big deal. And many of us have been given far more than that. We've been given clothing, shelter, food, education, relative safety. So yeah, we're not saying that parents are perfect and they did a fantastic job. Sometimes they've also challenged us, troubled us in some ways. But what they've given is far more. So the debt is very big. So the Buddha looked at the tree for 7 days unblinkingly, gratitude. Just to hear that, wow, how powerful is that? One of my teachers, Ajahn Jaisaro, told this powerful story. Before he was a monk, he grew up in England, and it's quite common for people in Europe and England to go backpacking. So before he became a monk, he'd gone backpacking once, and he went to Iran. He went backpacking to Iran. And somewhere in that journey, as it happens sometime when you travel, one of his bags was stolen. And that bag had all his money, all his traveler's checks. Those days, traveler's checks, that's one way to travel. That was stolen. So now there is a way to get the money back, but it's not so straightforward when you have traveler's checks. So he had very little cash left with him. In fact, his main bag was stolen. So clothing went, toiletries went. A little bit of money in his pocket was still there. So now he had to wait until his parents could send him some more money from the UK, from England. It takes a few days. So now in between, he has to manage living in very simple accommodation, eating very simple food, because he only got a little bit of money. So to the third such day, he's waiting for the money to arrive. He's managing on very simple food. He wakes up in the morning, he's unshaven. He has the same set of clothes from the last several days. So the clothes are a little ruffled. He's waking up, he goes out, he's living in some very cheap place. And he's wondering, where should I have breakfast? And then he sees this Iranian lady dressed in her perfect, very beautiful, very clean clothes, perfectly ironed. And she's come down from her home. And the lady takes one look at him and she says something in Farsi. He doesn't understand. Come here. He doesn't know her. Why is she calling me? Come here. Takes one look at him, come here. And she invites him into her home. She's very surprised. What's going on? Who is this lady? And she says something to her son. So her son gets activated, goes inside the room. Then she points him to the room. He's wondering, what's going on here? In the room, there is a fresh t-shirt, fresh trouser. And they point to the bathroom. Warm bath is ready. He's very confused. What's going on? She said, go have a bath. What? So anyway, he goes, he has a shower, he shaves, and there's a fresh set of clothes. And he comes out and she's prepared hot breakfast for him. And she had the most delicious warm breakfast. And when she sees that he's done, okay, come. Takes him down. She smiles at him and she leaves. And she doesn't even expect to thank you. And he's totally amazed. What was that about? I never asked for help. This lady doesn't know me. But somehow the motherly instinct in her kicked in. She realized this fellow is in trouble. This fellow, he seems hungry. He's in trouble. So she just spontaneously brought him into her home, offered him a fresh set of clothes, let him have a bath, give him a hot breakfast without even expecting a thank you. And Ajahn Jayasaro says, when I remember this incident, my eyes fill with tears, gratitude. This woman didn't know me, but she just got it. I needed help. She just got it. Had that happened to you in your life? Sometimes someone just got it. They just looked at you and said, okay, looks like you need a hug. Looks like you need something to eat. Looks like you need a little bit of help. Sometimes people just get it. It's increasingly rare, right, in today's world when someone does that. We are told to be careful, or you don't know these people, especially someone from a different culture, different country, different skin. It takes a big heart to do something like that. He says, till today, when I think of that incident, my eyes fill with tears of gratitude. But then when I think of my own parents, this lady gave him one meal, one set of clothes, and one opportunity to have a shower. My parents gave me shelter for many, many years, gave me many, many meals, gave me many, many clothes. But I don't feel with gratitude when I think of my parents. Then I have a lot of judgments as well. So look at that. Something's off. Something's off because we have expectations. Our parents should be like this. They should be like that. So who are you without all these expectations? Sariputra can have such deep gratitude for Asaji, for that one little teaching. Ajahn Jayasaro can have that gratitude for that one person. Like, I'll give you my example. I was, this is, what year would it have been? I think 1995 or something like that. I think 1995. So 1995, I was going for my first Vipassana course in Jaipur. No, second actually. My first was like a 3-day course. The second was a 10-day course. Just wait for the sound to go. Whenever you hear the sound of an ambulance or a fire truck or a police vehicle, just send a blessing along with it. Because you don't know what they're going, who needs help. Whichever country you're in, once in a while you'll hear an ambulance. Once in a while you'll hear a fire truck. Once in a while you'll see a police vehicle. Someone needs help. Send blessings, infinite blessings. So 1995, I was going for my Vipassana course in Jaipur, and I was going alone. Nobody was with me. I was 17 years old. And I didn't realize that the Vipassana center is quite outside of Jaipur. So I took the bus and I thought it'll be close enough. But then I didn't realize that from the bus station to the Vipassana center is still many more kilometers. So anyway, I asked, there were no auto rickshaws, there were only cycle rickshaws. So I asked a cycle rickshaw, please take me. So he takes me. But it's so steep that it's quite a hilly area there. So it's so steep that within 5 minutes of cycling, this guy loses control. Now, I don't know if his cycle rickshaw was bad or he was a very bad driver, a cycle rickshaw driver or what, or his brakes were bad. The entire cycle rickshaw collapsed and it tumbled. So I fell out, he fell out, everybody fell out. Luckily, I didn't get too badly hurt. So I had a suitcase. My suitcase fell off, I fell off, he fell off. And he said, listen, this is too steep, I can't do it. So he left me in the middle of nowhere. I'm going. It's great. So now I start walking. I don't know how far it is. I imagine it'll be close enough. I start walking. And suitcases, as you know, especially the old ones, they don't have any wheels or anything. You've got to carry them. So I'm carrying my suitcase and it gets heavy after a while. So walking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I think, when is the center going to come? And then somebody I don't even ask for help, but somebody on a scooter comes, Bajaj scooter. Says, where are you going? So I'm going to the Vipassana center. He says, oh, that's another 4 kilometers. You can't go like this. Sit with me. So how uncomfortable it must be to accommodate someone with a suitcase. It's not an easy lift to give someone, right? If you're just taking someone, it's easy, but they have a suitcase as well. But somehow he fit me and my suitcase on a scooter. And I said, is that where you're going? He said, that's not exactly where I'm going, but I'll drop you and I'll go where I'm going. And he's been living here for many years. I said, have you done a Vipassana course? He said, no, I've never done, but I know there's a nice center there. A lot of people come. And I live around here. So we had a nice chat, and within 10 minutes, I was at the center. He drops me off, and I'm very thankful to him. And then we don't know why, I don't know what happened. But I don't know if his scooter ran out of fuel or what, but his scooter wouldn't start after that. His scooter just kind of stopped. And I tried to help him, but it wouldn't start. And finally he said, don't worry, I'll walk back. So I felt kind of guilty that, because of me, this guy has come out of his way and now his scooter doesn't start. But at the same time, so grateful that he made it so easy for me to get here. And many times I thought of him during that course. I thought of him and said, oh, thanks to him, I was able to get here. Maybe I would have lost hope in between. So I can't find this center. Let's just go back. Who knows? I can't. I'm giving up. It's too difficult. But he made it easy. He got me right to the gate of the center. And on the last day of the course, when there's the practice of Punya Vitran. Punya Vitran means you share the goodness of your heart. You share the good energy that you have accumulated. It's called Punya Vitran, Mangal Maitri. So when I was thinking, and I also thought of him. And I said, yes, please share in the merits. Please share in the merits of this course. Wherever you are, whoever you are, share in the merits of what I've experienced here. And see, I still remember it today. It happened in 1995. I still remember that incident. The whole thing must have taken 10, 15 minutes, but I still remember it to this day. And there's gratitude, because that put me on a very different path in my life than I was on before. So there are people who show up like angels in our lives. Sometimes we don't even know who they are. And they completely can change the course of our life sometimes. There was this group of women. They were driving somewhere and their tire had a puncture. So they stopped their car. It's begun to rain. And they're not sure how to change they haven't learned how to change the car tire. None of them knows how to do that. So they're asking for help. They're trying to stop. But because it's raining, no one's stopping. So car after car is going, no one's stopping for them. And finally, one car stops and a man gets out. He says, what's up? He says, our tire is punctured. Do you have a spare? Yeah, we have a spare. Let me change it for you. So over the next 10 minutes, in the rain, himself getting wet, he changes their spare tire. And they're so thankful. You can imagine how thankful you would be if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere and your car is punctured and somebody helps you. Thank you so much. Can we give you some money? Can we do anything? Please, you're being such a big help. So no, I don't want your money, but I want you to promise me something. What do you want us to promise? For the rest of your life, whenever you see someone who is in need, and if you can do something, then you will do something. Promise me that. That's the promise. That's what I want in return. I don't want your money. I don't want anything else. I just want you to promise me in future, when you see someone in need, like today you were in need, and I knew I could do something, so I helped. So if you see someone in need, and if you feel you can do something, you will do something. Promise me. And they all promised. Isn't that lovely? So nobody can help everybody, but everybody can help somebody. And we do what we can in this world. One problem comes because, nowadays we always think of the whole world, the best in the world, the best in the world, the most in the world. That we feel unless we're doing something for the whole wide world, it's not worth it. That's not true. If everybody thought like that, unless I'm the best restaurant in the world, I don't want to exist. Unless I'm the best writer in the world, I don't want to write. Unless I'm the best singer in the world, I'm not going to sing. This is nonsense. This way of thinking is ridiculous. You may not be the best teacher in the world, but the people you are teaching, they benefit from your being there. They benefit from your showing up. They have a better day because of you. And that is good enough, right? So just keep showing up. Keep showing up. I heard about this doctor, very accomplished US doctor, who got an opportunity to go for a couple of years to Nigeria. And he was very well regarded, very respected in the US. So he thought, I'm going to go to Nigeria and I have so much to share with the Nigerians. I'm going to improve their healthcare system. He had this big grandiose plan that he's going to go and update the entire health system of Nigeria. But when he went there, he found the situation very different. You see, if you go from a developed country to a developing country, it's a completely different system. They don't have half the facilities that you have here. And also the pressure on the medical system is far more than in developed countries. So he was blown away that half the tests he wanted to order, those tests were not available. The medicines he wanted to prescribe, they were not available. And there's such a pressure. I mean, there are 100 patients waiting for you outside. You barely have 2-3 minutes with each patient. So his entire vision for he had come there to, he thought he's going to transform the whole Nigerian medical system. He realized he's hardly able to do anything. So he's getting more and more depressed day by day. What have I done? I've made a mistake. I'm not making any difference. I'm not making any difference. One day, a man comes with a very peculiar condition, a double heartbeat. A double heartbeat? How can you have a double heartbeat? Some kind of a double heartbeat. And he vaguely remembers from medical school, this is a very serious condition. There is some kind of accumulation of fluids around the heart, which is why there's a sound coming twice, the heart itself, and then the fluid itself kind of has a beat. And if you don't immediately release this fluid, this person is going to die. So he asked for the cardiac surgeon in the hospital. That surgeon happens to have gone somewhere else. He'll only be back a few hours later. He has to take action now. If he doesn't take action now, this man's going to die. So he races to the library, pulls out a book, and tries to get the basic, what is the procedure to be done over here? He's not himself skilled in this, but it has to be done. Someone has to do this. So he's rushed into, the man is rushed into the operation theater. And you know, it's a very delicate surgery because you puncture too much, you puncture the heart, the man's going to die. But you puncture too little, you don't take out the fluid, again, this person is going to not survive. It's like a delicate operation meant for the experts. But he has no choice. He has to do this operation. And luckily, it goes well, and the man survives, and he's taken to the recovery room. Next day, he goes to see the man. The man is in his 60s. And the man takes one look at him, and he says something strange. He says, "You sometimes think, why are you here?" I said, "What?" I don't know this man. What is he saying? The man picks it up. He says, "You sometimes wonder why you've come to this country. You sometimes wonder, what is the point of your being here? Let me tell you what the point is. You came here so you could save my life." And it completely changes his paradigm. He thought he'd come there to change the Nigerian medical system. And this man is saying, no, you came here so you could save my life. If you were not there yesterday, I would have died. And he said that one experience changed his entire outlook on his practice. He thought his practice was to save so many people, do all of these things, change the world. No, it's one person at a time. It's one meeting at a time. It's one conversation at a time. He went on to become the director of the Human Genome Project. You know the Human Genome Project? It has mapped the entire genome. Our entire DNA has been mapped. And a lot of amazing breakthroughs are going to come in the future because of that. Already I have some friends who are working on companies that are doing this. So that person went on to become the director of the Human Genome Project, that doctor. But he said his entire, and he actually did make an impact in the whole world doing that. But it all began with one person at a time. He said, I'm not going to judge myself based on the worldwide change I'm having. One person at a time. Did you in your whole day make life a little bit easier for one person? I bet you did. You may not realize it, but I bet you did. That is a good day. That is a good day. If you don't torment yourself and you don't torment others, that's already a very good day. One day at a time. You wake up in the morning that today I shall not torment myself and I shall not unduly torment others. And once you get good at that, then you can say, may I be a channel of blessings to myself. May I be a channel of blessings for someone today. That's a good shift. So baseline is don't torment, don't trouble. Because people already have, you also already have enough burden. Don't add to your burden. Other people also, outwardly, they may look totally fine. Everyone is carrying a hidden burden. Take it from me, who's been doing this work for, I don't know, 20 years. Outwardly, people may look rich and famous and successful and everything. But when they start talking to you, realize they're worried about something. They're concerned about their children. They're concerned about their health. They're concerned about something that happened 20 years ago. They're concerned about this, that, and the other. Everyone's carrying something. Everyone's carrying something. I met a man who's, I can't give too much information, but he's the country head of one of the biggest companies in the world. I'd say it like that. He's the country head, and not just country, region. He's a region head. So you can imagine one continent. He's the head of the entire region for one of the biggest companies in the world. And I was doing a coaching session with him. And his big agony in life is that he feels he's nervous when he's presenting in front of people. He says people don't see it, people praise him, but inwardly he feels he's not confident when he's presenting. And he has to present, you imagine at his level, he has to present a lot. He has to present to hundreds of people, sometimes thousands of people. And he judges himself, and actually he's not bad, he's actually pretty good. But this is judgment, self-judgment. I'm not good enough, I should be. So you see, even someone who's that capable, that smart, that wealthy, that powerful, that influential, that admired, that successful in his career, is judging himself. So everyone is carrying a hidden burden. Can you at the very least not add to their burden? Step one. You're also carrying a hidden burden. Can you not add? In your case, it's not hidden. At least you know what your burden. Hopefully you know what your burden. Don't add to your burden. Step one. And then if possible, can you lighten the load? You lighten the load. Benjamin Zander talks about playing classical music. He's one of the world's leading conductors. He talks about playing classical music for street kids. Classical music for street kids. Why would street kids appreciate classical music? He says, no, everyone can appreciate music. So he's a fantastic piano player and maybe more instruments as well. And he got these street kids together and he played the piano for them. And he showed them how certain kinds of music is uplifting and certain kind of music is kind of a little bit sad and pulls you down. He's kind of showing them different moods of music. And at the end of it, one of the boys says, a year back, my brother was shot on the street and killed by a gang, to gang-related violence. My brother was shot on the street and killed. I didn't cry. Today, as you played this music, for the first time, I cried. You see, in his own way, through his own music, through his skill as music, he's lightening the load. He's allowing that street kid to grieve his brother from 1 year back. He thought, I've got to be tough. I've got to be tough. I can't. Somehow there's this notion that boys shouldn't cry. This is stupidity. Everybody can cry and they should cry. Men and women should both cry. Crying is a natural. First of all, it's good for your eyes. It cleans your eyes. Crying is healthy. Everybody should cry. Holding back your tears is stupidity. So these roles that men shouldn't cry and all is nonsense. Everybody should cry. So he allowed himself to grieve and cry 1 year later. That was Benjamin Zander's gift to a street kid. He lightened the load. So everybody here has amazing gifts and skills. One of the gifts almost all of us have is not valuing our own gifts. We undermine our own gifts. Oh, no, nothing. I'm nothing special, nothing great. This is really stupidity. You have to own your gifts. You have certain gifts. You're good. It doesn't have to be best. Like I said, don't have to be the best in the world in it, but good enough. I may not be the best teacher in the world, but I'm good enough. Yeah, good enough. And I can lighten the load a little bit for some people. That's good enough. So similarly, you all have a gift, whether you recognize it or not, and you have to own that gift. And not only own the gift, you have to hone the gift. You understand? Own and hone. Own is to accept it, acknowledge it. Yes, I have this gift. But that's not enough. You got to hone it. Hone means to develop it, cultivate it, develop it, strengthen it. How do you develop it? Just by doing more of it. And it doesn't really matter in the beginning if people are paying you for it or not, and people are recognizing it. It doesn't matter. Just keep going. Just keep going. If you do it again and again and again, you're going to get better and better and better. If you're going to get feedback, you're going to get better. You're going to learn what works. There's a nice saying that love what you do until you can do what you love. Love what you do until you can do what you love. So yes, not all of you currently are doing exactly what you love to do, but love what you do. Choose to bring the attitude of love. When you do with love, you love what you do. So bring the attitude of love. There's no mistake. You are wherever you are in your career, in your everything. It is meant to develop you in a certain way. It may look like this is completely irrelevant. I want to be an artist and I'm stuck in an accounting job. It's not as irrelevant as you imagine. Like many artists in the world, they're usually quite bad at managing money. So you first get good at accounting, and you'll be one of the few artists in the world who understand how to manage money. You'll not be taken for a ride. It's all connected. It's connected in ways you don't understand. Everything is in the right place. You have to create linkages. John DeMartini, who's a great coach, a man came to him and said, "Can you help my son? He's very dissatisfied. He's very unhappy." "What's your son doing?" He's doing an internship. But he actually wants to be a musician, and he's very unhappy with his internship. But I want him to get experience in the world. So John DeMartini agrees to do a coaching session for this teenager. So the teenager is, very, unhappy and just frustrated. What's wrong? Why are you so frustrated? He said, "My father's made me do an internship at a, what's it called? What are these things called when you sell bathroom implements like sinks and taps?" And I'm not sure what the name for that is. There must be some word for it, but essentially it's all these gadgets that go into, the kitchens, the sinks and the showers and all of those. And this lady has a company that sells all of this, but it's not an ordinary company. Sanitary ware, sanitary wares. It's not an ordinary company. It's a high-end sanitary ware. So it's luxury sanitary ware. So he's interning in that company. He's like, "I'm not interested in stupid bathroom stuff. I want to be a musician." All right. So tell me, what kind of music do you want to play? He said, "I like playing the bass guitar." Oh, bass guitar. Bass guitar is a little heavier guitar. And so what are you doing in your internship? He says, "Oh, I have to put the boxes in the right place. I have to keep a tab of, where everything is kept." All right. So when you are lifting boxes and putting things from place to place, are you using your hands? Of course, I'm using my hands. Are your hands getting stronger? Yeah, I guess they are. So will that help you later on when you're in a concert playing for 4 hours? I suppose it will. And I've heard these are luxury sanitary ware, luxury bathroom implements. Yeah, very luxury, expensive. Oh, so the clientele would also be pretty. Yeah, they're celebrities. Celebrity. So could some of these celebrities also be great musicians? Yeah, maybe they can be. Turns out, actually, have you heard of the band U2? Famous band, U2. So U2 was one of the clients of this lady, but he never even bothered. He was so unhappy with the thing. He said, "Is it possible that if you do your job well, your boss will allow you to maybe get an autograph from one of these clients, celebrity clients?" Oh my God, never thought of that. I'd love to meet U2. So what he actually did was, over that half an hour, he created more and more links. You see what he's doing? He's creating links between what he's currently doing and what he wants to do. This boy saw no linkage. This stupid sanitary ware internship, but nothing. Do I want to be a musician? But he's creating linkages. Your hands are getting stronger. You're actually going to get to meet some of your favorite stars. You're actually learning how to be disciplined in what you do. And the more linkages you create, the less frustrated the boy got. By the end of it, he was enthusiastic to go back to his internship. So you and I also have to learn to create linkages between where we are and where we want to be. The more linkages you create, you will have more enthusiasm, love, and discipline for what you're currently doing. And this phase will move, you'll pass through this phase very smoothly in your life. One thing I like about the US, which India sadly lacks, is the dignity of labor here. I had an Uber driver a few weeks back, and we began chatting. This lady, first of all, we don't have that many women Uber drivers in India. So we began chatting, say, oh, how's it going? So she said, oh, I'm just working. I said, do you do both? Here there are two apps, Uber and Lyft. I said, do you do both Uber and Lyft? No, I just do Lyft. Okay. This is just a part-time thing, he said. I'm just doing it after work. Oh, you do some other work? He said, yeah. Turns out she's an auditor. So she's pretty educated, huh? And she actually audits. She says, I audit bank managers. But 2-3 hours in the evening, I drive Lyft. I said, oh, really? She said, I'm just trying to save money for my grandkids. I said, what's going on with your grandkids? So actually, my son is a professional basketball player. He plays, not all basketball players play within the US. Some of them play in other teams internationally. So her son's an international basketball player. He plays with teams internationally. But during COVID, he had no work. And he's got 3 kids. So she said, I earn enough to take care of myself. But when it comes to taking care of another family, it's a bit of a stretch. So I drive Lyft for 3 or 4 hours whenever I can. And that's enough. She says, I'm doing it for my grandkids. And I love that. I said, oh, this is... In India, will you ever find someone who's educated and who's got a nice career in the evening driving Uber or Lyft? Would there be they'll die of shame? मैं driver ban gaya. I become a driver. This is a difference between, this is a good difference, this dignity of labor, that there is no shame. And you have a basic level of respect, whether you're a waiter, or whether you're a bus driver, or whether you're anybody. Even if you're a janitor, you have a basic level of respect. This is something that in India we've lost. We tend to put people down based on what they do. When the reality is you could not survive without those same people. Next time you go to a clean bathroom, think, you have come here to dirty the bathroom and someone there is cleaning up behind. You always go to the bathroom to dirty it in some way. Someone has to do a job of sanitizing it further after you, every single time you go to the bathroom. So you go to a hotel bathroom, you go to a restaurant bathroom. Always give thanks to that person who is quietly cleaning up after you and all the others. And their job is significant, because if those people were not there, then we all know what Indian public toilets are like. Indian public toilets, if you park your car outside, you say, I've got to park somewhere else because, oh my God, I can't even get out of my car. That's the kind of smell you get. So gratitude for all these people, all the roles we play in life. Doesn't matter what your gift is, that gift is valuable and it is lightening the load for someone. It is helping someone. I was watching a TED talk on Scandinavian countries. And this lady talked about how her son comes home one day and says, I know what I want to do when I grow up. Oh, really? What is it you want to do? I want to be a garbage man. You want to be a garbage man? So initially she's like, all right, my son wants to be a garbage man. But she's open with, okay, what does it mean? He says, no, it's logistics. It's logistics. You have to know how to move the garbage trucks, how to be there at the right time, pick up the garbage. And instead of criticizing what kind of a role, you should be a lawyer, a doctor, you should be an engineer. Why do you want to be a garbage man? What kind of a career is that? But she doesn't criticize him. She says, all right, great. I'm very happy you know what you want to do. Don't we want a cheerful garbage man instead of a very sad, unhappy garbage man? Someone who loves what they do, right? It's not a very pleasant job. It's got unpleasant smells and all kinds of contaminations. But someone has to do it. When someone does it cheerfully, that's amazing. So why in our society do we feel certain roles and jobs are very respectable, very good, and certain are not very respectable, not very good? This is a problem with our society and a problem with our thinking. We need all of these people. We need the street sweepers. We need the janitors. We need the bus drivers, car drivers. When you attend calls like this, then bring it into your life. My brother had a nice question he asked himself. Can I be 2% kinder? I love that question. Can I be 2? So when you're sitting in an Uber, you ask yourself, can I be 2% kinder to this Uber driver? Can I ask them how's their day going? Can I ask them if they had time to have lunch? It doesn't take much to be courteous and to show a little bit of empathy. One simple thing I do is when I go on a flight, sometimes there's no aero bridge. You have to go through that bus. So have you noticed? There's the bus driver, this shuttle bus, and maybe there are 100 passengers on that. And the moment they reach, they all jump off. They have to rush to get their best seat. No one thanks the bus driver. He's there all day long. So I make it a point to go from, even though sometimes the middle gate is closer to the aeroplane, I make it a point to go from the front gate and I say, thank you. And they're usually very surprised. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you're welcome. Because nobody thanks them, right? So just simple thing, doesn't take much to do. When you go on a shuttle, can you be 2% kinder? I notice sometimes when I get early into a flight, all the overhead bins are empty. Wow, let's put everything up there. But that's not very kind, because somebody, you all know, the last guy who comes is going to be like, where do I put my bag? So usually airlines say, put one bag up and put one bag at you. If you have two bags, put one up, put one at your feet. But if you're in there first, oh, wow, open house. Let's put it all up there. And then you wait and watch, this person has no place to put that up. And they're embarrassed. They're trying to wonder, where should I put my bags? But you were part of the problem. You put both your bags up there. So a simple, nobody's noticing these. No one is making note of these things, but you're noticing yourself. So if I have two bags, I'll put one bag up. I'll put one bag at my feet. So hopefully the last person who comes still has a place to put their bag. These are all examples of being 2% kinder. You don't become a saint by doing these things, but you become sane by doing these things. It's not about saintliness. It's about sanity. Be sane. Create a sane world. How do you do that? You don't torment yourself. You don't torment others. You lighten the load for yourself. You lighten the load for others. So I don't think it takes too much for us to have a higher quality of life. Have you heard the story from Africa? I think it's called Ubuntu. This researcher goes to Africa and he wants to understand the culture there. So he gets all these village kids and he gives them a small taste of chocolate cake. They've never had chocolate cake before and they love it. Oh, this is so delicious. They all get a small bite, so they get a taste of it. He says, okay, now all line up. You have to run and touch that tree. Whoever gets there first gets the rest of the cake. So they're all confused. Anyway, so they line up. He says, okay, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, run. And the first person who touches the tree gets the rest of the cake. So they all line up. He says, 1, 2, 3, go. And they all hold hands and they run together. And they go there and they touch the tree together. And he's shocked. What just happened? He's amazed. What just happened over here? He said, why did you do that? Then we thought about it, that if only one person gets the cake, the rest of us will be unhappy. And if the rest of us are unhappy, even this person can't be that happy. So we said, this is not the right way. So we ran. So we held hands and we ran together. You see, kids understood this. In that village, the kids understood this. That together we are stronger. Together we are stronger. So this thinking has to come back into our life. That together we are stronger. Let's all do our bit to help and support each other. Not everything has to be a transaction. Not everything has to be with an agenda. What will I get from this? Will I get money from this? Will I get fame from this? Will I get a good reputation from this? It doesn't have to always be a calculation. Just do it for the sake of doing. Very clean. And I can promise you this, when you do that, you will find that you are also supported. When you give like that, you find all of nature supports you. This is a law of nature. And if you play with these laws, you'll understand these are inviolable laws of nature. When you share your gifts, when you're there to support others, you will also be supported. To the extent that you can almost demand it. I had an interesting experience. One of the teachers in Thailand, very famous meditation master. So he had a very popular meditation center. Lots of people used to come and meditate. When lots of people come, Lots of toilets are also needed. So he had helped build a big toilet block. So all these people would come, they meditate, use the toilet block. And he himself had built, and sometimes monks get quite active. So he himself had helped build the toilet block, and he would also help clean the toilet block. In fact, if you ever go to a Buddhist monastery, the first job you'll be given, in most cases, the first job you'll be given is to clean toilets. Start from the left, start from the ground. So no matter who you think you're a CEO, you think you're a great, author, writer, just clean toilets first. Job number one, clean toilets. Anyway, so this teacher had built many toilets in his meditation center, along with many other things. So he goes to Sri Lanka for a conference, and he doesn't speak English. So he's, sometimes in these conferences, the communication is not so clear. So he's a little disoriented. So he thinks he has to go for the other meeting in the morning. And he misunderstands. Somehow he misses the time. He misunderstands. So little jet lagged. So he gets ready. He gets up and he feels he's getting late. So he doesn't have proper time to go to the bathroom. So he rushes out. And in the process, somehow he's missed the bus. So he's trying to walk his way to wherever the conference is happening. And meanwhile, a pressure is building in his belly. He needs to go to the toilet. But there is no toilet to be found. He's on the road. There's no toilet to be found. So now he really needs to go to the toilet. The hotel is too far back. The conference center, he thought it's just around the corner, but it's further than he expected. And now where he doesn't speak the language? Where should he go? So this is called, very interesting, this is called Satyakriya. What is Satyakriya? You make an affirmation of truth. He says, if it is true that I have built many toilets, if it is true that I have cleaned many toilets, if it is true that many people have experienced relief because of my work, then may I also get a toilet now that I really need a toilet. It is a Satyakriya. But he doesn't stop there. He goes one step further. He says, if I don't get it, I'm going to go back and break those toilets. I want a toilet now. Now. And less than a minute later, a man is walking by and he says, oh, you're a monk. You seem to be from a different country. Do you need any help? So there's a bit of a communication, and this man understands that this person needs to use the toilet. He says, come to my house. His house is around the corner, and amazing, beautiful bungalow, and 5-star quality toilet. And he gets to use the toilet. So when you do things like this, you actually have a right. You have a right to ask for it. So this is my right. By right, I demand support right now, and you will get the support. When the Buddha was about to get enlightened, then Mara appears. Mara is the personification of our own doubts. And Mara says, who are you to get enlightened? You don't deserve to be here. Who are you? First of all, who allowed you to even sit there? You have no right to even sit there. Who gave you permission to sit under that tree? So, imagine the most fundamental doubt. You don't belong. You don't deserve. You don't even deserve to sit there. Who the hell are you? So his inner voice of doubt, and in a way it's personification from outside, Mara is saying. Mara is like the demon that says, you don't deserve anything. Who are you? And Buddha does not answer. He does not get into a verbal dispute. You know what he does? He gently touches his fingers. You might have seen this pose where he's sitting cross-legged and his fingers are touching the ground. It's called Bhumi Sparsh Mudra. So what does it mean? Fingers touching the ground. He says, Prithvi Sakshi hai. Earth is witness. What does Earth witness to? I deserve to sit here. And the legend says that there is not a single square inch on the entire planet where the Buddha has not in some past life shed his own blood for the benefit of some other being. So you will not find a square inch on the entire planet where he's not shed his own blood or given his own life for the benefit of somebody else. And so he has a right. When he sits here, he touches the ground, he says, Prithvi Sakshi hai, the earth is witness. I deserve to sit here. And the earth is witness. They say the earth trembles and the earth shakes. And the earth splits open and swallows up Mara and all the demons. So don't mess with Mama Earth. Pachamama, don't mess with Pachamama. Right? So, in other words, you are worthy. No matter what anyone says, no matter what your teachers say, your neighbors say, the world says, especially no matter what advertising says, you're not fashionable enough. You don't have a good enough car. You don't have good enough shoes. You don't have good enough hairstyle. Your teeth aren't white enough. No matter what anyone says, you are worthy, you are whole, you are complete, and you come with gifts, and you come to share your gifts. You come to lighten the load of someone. Maybe not everyone in the world, but someone's day, someone's life is getting better because of it. And so, what's that nice song? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. So you have a little light in you and you gotta let it shine. Your job is to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Of course, we are fascinated by the sun, but are we not also fascinated by fireflies? Fireflies are tiny light. Jugnu, those fireflies. Don't we get fascinated? Oh, look at that, it's a firefly, it's a fire. We get so excited. The sun has a million times brighter light than a firefly. But that firefly also brings a lot of joy. So whether you're a sun or whether you're a firefly, let your light shine, shine, shine. And you will go through this life in a very good way. And you will bring, lightness and brightness wherever you go. 22 comments. Let's see what's going on in the chat. People have written a lot. You found the quote. Very nice. Ye dhamma hetub bhava tesang hetum tathagato aha. Tesancha yo nirodho evam vadhi mahasamanoti. Beautiful. Of all those things that have a cause that arise, Tathagata, the cause thereof is told, and how they cease to be, that too he tells. This is the doctrine of the recluse. Beautiful. Thank you for finding that. There's a Salman Khan movie where he asks 3 more people to help 3 other people in return for this help. Oh, that's nice. Like a tsunami, very nice. If you don't torment yourself or any other person on a day, it's a really good day. It's not safe for women in India to be a cab driver. Yeah, it's not safe, and it has to start somewhere. It's not even safe necessarily in the US. There is crime here as well. But the change will not, we don't have to wait for the men to all start behaving themselves, and then the change will come. I think the women also have to own their power. One powerful thing I learned is that the core of women is power, and the core of men is love. And we have it backwards. We think the core of women is love, and the core of men is power. But you know what women are called in the tradition? They're called Shakti. Shakti is power. So women think that their core is love, but no, their core is actually power. They will spend their life women will spend their life looking for love, but actually their core is power. So only when they touch their power will they find love. And men will spend their life looking for power, but their core is actually love. So only through that love can they reach the power. So women will get love you will find true love when you own your power, and men will find true power when they own their love. So it's a little bit backwards like that. So it's not safe for women in India to be a cab driver, and that will only change when women step into their power. You can't wait for men to behave themselves. They're going to have you seen Indian men? As long as things are going status quo, wonderful. Someone's doing the dishes, someone's washing the clothes. Very good. Karte raho, bahut acha. Only when women say, wait a minute, this is not balanced. Something's off over here. I'm working also, I'm making the food also, I'm doing the dishes also. Something's off over here. Then the men will grumble, say, okay, I'll also do something. Don't wait for the men to come around. The women have to step into their power. No comments. Beautiful. Would anyone like to say something before we end? Can you raise your hand? I have a few minutes. This session was so powerful, so thought-provoking, leaving one questioning how much or how little we have done for anyone. Thank you. You can ask to, Saloni, you want to say something? I can go to, just raise your hand. I'll go in the order you raise your hand. Suvarna is saying something.
Yeah. So, Nitya, when Modi ji declared Atmanirbhar Bharat, I declared same at my home. I said everybody is Atmanirbhar here. Because at that time there was a COVID wave and we had lots of patients at hospital. Everybody else was sitting at home and I was working.
Very good. So then
So everybody was doing
they
their own
listened,
work.
but they had no choice but to listen. Can you hear me? Has your thing frozen? Something happened with the video.
Yeah,
Are you there,
there's some
Suvarna?
network issue, I think.
Yeah, okay, no worries. So what happened when you declared Atmanirbhar Ghar? What happened then? Self-reliant home. Let me see if I put your video off. Maybe sometimes it becomes better when the video is off. Can you hear me? Something's up with the network. Okay, anybody else wants to say something? She might come back. You can raise your hand. Amrit, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening. I love the part where you said that men, when they own their love, they actually reach power. And when women touch their power, they reach love. I love that part. Thank you so much for that.
It's a powerful teaching for all of us. Thank you. And D is saying something. D, go ahead.
Hi, Nithya.
Hi.
Good morning. Thank you so much for this session. It was beautiful. I mean, what really touched me was, I know you'd spoken about the parents and how if all your parents have done is given you birth, you still owe them a lifetime. We do judge our parents a lot. And, we forget the clothing and the shelter, even the basic clothing and shelter. Oh, no, I shouldn't say basic. That they provide to us, and it's amazing you say that. And I want to say that my husband really embodies that spirit, where although he hasn't lived with them for, I think, more than 25 years now. I mean, he the level of respect and regard and wanting to be there for them is phenomenal. So my question is, my question really is with respect to a constant state of being, right? Like a lot of these people you spoke about, like people like Mahamoglaina, Sariputra, and so many so many people that you named in the session today, they were in a very constant state of operating. And obviously that was because of many years of sadhana or many years of practice and whatnot. What I am struggling with, all these concepts that you have taught and you continue to teach, and thank you for that. They are beautiful and they're so powerful. Where I am struggling is implementing them at a consistent way, and that is because probably my state of mind is not in a very consistent pace. Someday I feel very inspired to kind of be larger than the situation, be larger than your emotion, be bigger than it, and then kind of go it. And on other days, I'm really that petty B, bitch. I really am. And and it's and on other days I'm just like forgiving soul who wants to. So I'm saying I'm on this pendulum, right? And I'm like, half of आधी जिंदगी तो चली गई है. अब पता नहीं कितनी बाकी है. So I'm like, and it's not that, and I'm saying that to get that level of to be at that level of operation where you don't allow your mood, and I come back to mood. Why? Because yesterday I had an awful day. Of all, it was. I mean, I was great the day before, and yesterday was awful. Why am I feeling this way? And then today when you announced the new moon, I'm like, oh, maybe because it was Amavas and the moon is out and the mind is not also out. So I am definitely so impacted by the moon or the moon cycles. And also by, other ways like biological cycles of periods and monthly periods, and when women go through PCOS. So I'm saying, how can I be in that constant state of operation? Like you said, he was at a fourth stage of jhana, somebody really smacked him hard in the head, and he was like, oh, I don't know what happened, I just have a headache. Like, dude, I want to be there. I want to be that person. And it's just, I've asked, that's my question.
Got it. So actually, I'm going to give you a different perspective. I myself am not very consistent. And I found that this consistency idea is a bit of a virus thought, because you never feel consistent enough. So I'm going to offer you a different perspective. First of all, we don't know how consistent Sariputra and they were. These are all stories we are hearing. We don't know how consistent they were or not. You go with your truth. Your truth is you're inconsistent. I would invite you, and many of us here who struggle with that consistency thing, practice intermittently. Practice intermittently. So like right now, Dee, instead of wondering when will you ever become like that, in this right now for the next 10 seconds, drop into your heart and just come into a place of acceptance for the next 10 seconds. That was a intermittent practice. And you may lose it. You may be back to judging yourself, judging others. But then again, when you catch yourself, drop. Practice intermittently. Take out this idea of consistency. You can never be consistent enough. You will keep on say, oh, again, I missed it. Again, I got upset. Again, I got this. Again, I got doubtful. And you keep judging that. So leave this idea of consistency. Let other people be consistent. My teacher told me that no effort on the path ever goes wasted. No effort on the path. So like I would do simple things like I'm sitting in a bus, and just for maybe a minute, quietly, may every person in this bus be happy. May every person in this bus be at peace. May the driver, the conductor, all the passengers, may they all be happy and well. May they all be free of sufferings. May all be happy. May they all reach their destination safely. May they have a wonderful day. And just spend a minute like that. Nobody knows I'm doing that. Of course, now you guys know, but nobody knows. I'm not making a show of it. My eyes may even be open. I'm not trying to make any show of it. But I have practiced intermittently. I may not practice for the entire bus ride, wishing everyone happiness, but for 1 minute in that bus ride, I stopped and I raised my consciousness. Intermittently, intermittently, intermittently. You will find a shift happens. So this consistency thing trips, even I used to get tripped over, I'm not consistent enough. I know, but I don't do enough. But you see, actually, this is a kind of self-judgment. It's like you go into a gym, you find the strongest person in the gym and say, if they can do it, I'll also do it. They can lift that, I'll also. You come for the first day, please lift some small weight, lift half a kg. They're lifting at 150 kg. You please don't lift that. You're going to break your back. They have taken a long time to get to 150 kg. You've come day one, you just lift half a kg, lift 1 kg, that's good enough. You're going to pull a muscle otherwise. And you're going to give up after that only. So for Sariputra, Mahamoggallana, Buddha to get to that level, we don't know how long they've been practicing. Imagine the example I give you, every square inch he'd shed blood. Oh my goodness, this is like next level stuff. So again, let's be, if you're a firefly, let's be a firefly. Fireflies are actually not consistent, they're inconsistent. You've seen them. They beep, light goes beep, and they disappear for a while, beep. But we find them so beautiful, right? So they're pretty inconsistent, but they're not very bright. They're inconsistent, but they're still really pretty and cute. So let us be like fireflies, and we will intermittently do our practice. Whenever we remember, we'll do it to whatever extent. Boond boond bharta sagar. Drop by drop, you will fill the ocean. And that's the main thing I can say, that don't get into this idea of, if somebody's asking why 2% kinder, because again, it's so simple, right? If I say be like the Dalai Lama, be like Mother Teresa, you'll say, yeah, right, thank you very much. I'm not even close. But if I say, can you be 2% kinder? Then say, yeah, maybe 2%. When my maid came late, instead of screaming at her, I can say, chai chahiye, pani chahiye. She's shocked. I thought it was going to get screamed at. Yeah, I know something must have happened at home. It's all right. Carry on. That's 2% kinder. You didn't, you didn't shout at someone. That's good. You held back your judgment. Little things we can do in the day. The other day, something so simple, we were at a Mexican restaurant and we ate, and my partner Rupal had gone to the bathroom. So we finished eating. So the plates and all were so I just made a small effort. I just organized all the plates, and with the napkins I have, I just cleaned off all the crumbs on the table. And then when she came, we were about to leave, and the waiter comes and says, "Wow, thank you so much." So I basically helped him out. I cleaned the table. I didn't have to do that. But I had time, I wasn't doing anything. So I just organized the plates. So it was very easy for him to lift up the plates. And there wasn't much to clean on the table after that. Now, this is an example of 2% kinder. I didn't have to do that, but it's nice. And it helps the person, makes their day a little bit better, a little bit easier. Right? So we can all find little things like this. So you may not become a great saint, but you are creating little puddles of happiness, little patches of happiness and sunlight throughout your day. And I think this is very practical and this is very doable for all of us. Did you want to say anything else, Dee, for that?
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. It takes the pressure off for sure to know that
this lifetime become 2%
it's okay
kinder.
to be, I guess.
In this whole lifetime, become 2% kinder.
Become 2% kinder. Yeah.
At the end of your life, absolutely. What did you achieve? I was 2% kinder.
Yeah. I mean, if I can ask you one more question, like this, you said something about...
Ask briefly, because we have 5-6 people. So maybe I'm going to actually cycle back to you. I want to give everyone a chance.
Sorry, quick one. Right? So tormenting your...
Actually, I'm going to cycle back to you, Dee. I'm going to go to the
other. Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay.
Go to Bhavna. Go to Bhavna next. Yeah. You can keep your hand up.
Okay. All right.
I just wanted to say thank you for this beautiful session. You remind us so many stories about kindness. I think sometimes tune into all these TV channels or programs on Netflix, and then it's all about what can I do for my joy, for my things, and it's like what we can do for others. So it was so beautiful. I really loved the reminder that all of us own some kind of gifts. And it doesn't has to be a big one. It can be any gift. And we have to own it and we have to hone it. And I loved how you said that, how we can hone it by practicing it, by cultivating it. I really like that example. And I love the example of the physician also, where he went to Nigeria thinking that he will change the system, but just by changing one person's life or like other people's lives also. So that makes a big difference. And same thing, I think what I noticed that by 2% kinder means like whoever I am interacting with, can I pass a smile to them? Can I say thank you to them? Can I ask them how they are? Like, I love that story of Emperor's 3 questions from who ordered this truckload of tongue, like who is the most person, what's the most important time, and what's the most important thing you can do. So like in that, he says that the most important person is the one who is right in front of you. And what's important time is the present moment, and what's the most important thing you can do is care. So I love that. I try to live that philosophy with whomever I interact. And then people do tell you that, oh, that day you said that, and then that really helped me, that touched my heart. You think that you didn't do anything, but it does make a difference, and then it just uplifts you also. And I love that story of yours, where you were saying that you were like as if you're sitting in a bus or somewhere, and you're just passing kind wishes to everybody in the bus or wherever you are, that bodhisattva nature. I think that is like Lester Levinston's story, where you expand your heart to the fullness for everybody. So that's very beautiful reminder. So thank you for beautiful reminders. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bhavna. Nice. Nalini Singh.
Thank you for the session, Nithya. They were all nice ensemble of nice points. Thank you so much. And something that Dee and Bhavna actually rephrased as well. I'm going to use those. We undermine our own gifts, appreciate your own gift, own your gift. I'm going to use this with my school friends reunion I'm going to have. So I really don't know how to connect with them again after 30 years. So this is a good one to use. And I like that line, don't mess with Mama Gaia. Mama has, I really like that. And something that Rita has been writing in the comments, actually she has been putting all the summaries of what you have been saying. So thank you, Rita Raniwala. I've been reading them. I enjoyed. And last one, Dee, you're saying, right, how to use all the lessons and wonderful teachings that life teaches us, and Nithya adds to these sessions. What I do is I write a lot of notes. I learn by writing. So once in a while, I flip the pages and I practice. I take a few of them and I practice. That is the reason why I remember so many things that Nithya has been teaching. So something that I wanted to add. That's all, Nithya. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nalini. And we have Soumya. Go ahead. Good to see you.
Hi. Hi, Nithya.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So there is this thing that Mooji says, right? The seeker of truth never becomes the finder of truth.
Hmm.
And like the way we began the session also, right? To not have any expectations, like just let go of anything that we hope to get out of what we're doing or what is in front of us, right? There is nobody here sort of waiting for anything to happen. And then we come to the point of honoring our gifts. So it's like I have ideas about what my gifts are, and that sort of fits into this definition of time. And so there is planning to be done, there is, you know, something to be executed, and then there is this other way of living, right? Which is just, you don't engage, like you just literally just whatever comes up, you just go with that. And like I've been following you for quite some time, and I see the beautiful things that you create, right? The beautiful offerings that you create. And I know there's no planning in that. So where is it coming? Like, what is your process for it? Like, is there a process for it? And how do we sort of, you know, honor that thing that there is nobody here trying to get anything, but there are these desires, there is something here which, you know, keeps us going from one day to the other. Maybe I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, in my case, it's hard to explain. It kind of bubbles up. It bubbles up. It's almost like a pressure gets created inside of me. I have to talk about this. I have to teach this. It's quite interesting. It bubbles up, and if I can't actually ignore it beyond a point. And I just have to, like, I'll give you a recent example, is that I was thinking the last 7 days of this year, enough of teaching now, let's give everybody a holiday. But then I'm getting this pressure inside of me that no, I have to do something at the end of the year on reflection and intention, right? So now somewhere this is bubbled up inside of me. So even though part of me like, there's not enough teaching, let everyone take a holiday, let's all relax. But a part of me says, no, but there is this one little thing that has to be done. So now since that's in my mind, now I'm going to tell my team, okay, guys, let's find time, let's slot a time, 2 or 3 hours, and let's create something where people can come and reflect on the year that's gone and for what has to come up in the future. So it's kind of hard to explain, but I think it is a distillation of the dominant intention. So what's the dominant intention? May I be a channel of blessings for someone today. That's the intention. May I take whatever this little light of mine, let it shine. And my light may not benefit everyone or help everyone or resonate with everyone, which is totally fine. But whoever it's meant to reach, whoever it's meant to help, may it do so. So that's the dominant intention, that let me learn things that I'm drawn to, practice those things, and share them in an appropriate way. And that intention is somehow guiding this life energy, this life force. I think similarly, as you also get get more and more refined in what exactly are you here to do. In a deeper sense, maybe what I'm here to do is what I began with in today's session, that, can you once in a while not have an agenda? Can you once in a while just meet to meet, walk to walk, meet, do things to do things? So then even these teachings that even though they may be like, oh, I want to talk about reflection, intention, but even that will have a flavor of the same thing. It'll have a flavor of non-agenda. You have an intention without an agenda. Like, what is it like for nothing to change and yet everything to change? What if your next year nothing changes, but yet everything changes? It's a very interesting question. Because we're sometimes hoping this year everything will change. My health will improve, my financials will improve. I'm going to upskill myself, I'm going to get a new job, I'm going to move to a new place. But then it's like you're trying to make everything, maybe everything will not change. But yet it's possible for everything to change. And this is like a different kind of question. Nothing changes, yet everything changes. So I'll bring that flavor. If that's where my consciousness is, that flavor will come into everything that I'm offering or doing. So in the same way, I know your work also is very powerful, and you have your own amazing style of writing and creating and sharing your gifts. So as you more and more hone into what exactly is the inner pulsation of that, what exactly is the inner essence of that, you may or may not be able to articulate it in words. Not everything I feel I can articulate in words, as we know. Right? But as long as I'm in touch with that, then that flavor will somehow come through in everything that I do.
Yeah.
And remember, one more thing I'll say is remember that you are interbeing. Don't get so hung up in your somya, this body and mind, interbeing. So if something needs to come through you, and suppose you're not very gifted at planning, scheduling, goal setting, then people will show up to help you with that. That's what I found. I'm not necessarily the best at, like this US trip. I landed up in the US without necessarily planning anything. But then people like Bhavna and Prerna and Devyani and all these people said, Nithya, we got to do something. Smitha, let's do something. And so they planned all these sessions for me in the US. And they made all the effort. Bhavna came and drove down, picked me up from another city. And then she organized many gatherings at her home. Prerna organized so many gatherings. Neil organized gatherings in California. And so that's not my gift. I'm not particularly good at planning, organizing. But then if I'm seeing myself not just as this person, if I'm seeing myself as life, then life interplay, like just like a flower is dependent on the soil and the sun and the bees and the butterflies. It's an ecosystem, right? So flower may be good at blossoming and fragrance, but it may not be so good at pollen distribution, may not be so good at, good soil. It takes the whole ecosystem. It takes the mycelium, the mushroom, it takes the bacteria in the soil, it takes the sun. It's an ecosystem. So think of yourself as part of an ecosystem. You are the ecosystem. And when you think like that, then you truly can focus on your own gifts. And the other things will line up. And not everything will line up in your lifetime. As we know, there are certain people who go completely unrecognized their entire lifetime. Some of the greatest artists, greatest poets, greatest writers, greatest thinkers were not really appreciated in their lifetime. But they were appreciated many, many centuries later. Like, oh my goodness, that person was so far ahead of their times. So don't be hung up that maybe the gifts you carry are seeds you're sowing for future generations. How do we know? So don't get frustrated if things don't work out in this lifetime. So that's in that way, you're thinking beyond limitation of time and space. And you're playing your role excellently. And there is nothing missing.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Saloni is saying something.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Actually, I just have this question that in the starting of this session, you said that we destroy our own heavens. So I feel like recently I've become very impulsive and I'm not able to stop, although I want to. But how do you know how to stop? I know I have to stop, but I don't know how to stop.
Well, you come to session like this. At least for these 2 hours, you didn't trouble anybody.
Actually, I've been attending your sessions from last year, COVID time. And then I just joined today after a long time.
Yeah. So, before you can find the middle, you have to explore the extremes. You have to go into the extreme of suppressing your thoughts and feelings. And you have to go into the extreme of expressing your thoughts and feelings, giving, I don't care what anybody thinks. Let them just hear it. Take it the way it is. And we will have to, before you can come to the middle, you have to know the extreme. So you're going through that phase in life. You may have gone through a phase of suppressing, being good person, tolerating. And now you're on the other end. You're like, no, I can't, this is not okay. It's not fine. And you're standing up for yourself. And maybe you're doing it in more aggressive a way than is needed. But then that's the way it's coming through.
But how should I stop it? This is not the right way to.
Yeah, so now you're recognizing that this is not the right way. So what you'll have to do is, like right now also, maybe before you sleep, whatever situation you're going through, shift from being the actor to the director. Actor to the director means actor is right now anger, frustration, whatever is coming out. And director is like in the same situation, assuming nobody else changes, nothing else changes. Is it possible for you to have a better response? Can you be 2% kinder? Can you be 2% wiser? Can you be 2% more patient? Is there any other way? So now you have to challenge yourself. This is where your proactive ability to see possibility steps in. How would Nithya behave in this situation? How would that friend of mine behave in this situation? How would so-and-so behave? Would they behave a little differently? Oh, that's a different way. I would never have thought of responding that way. Oh, one can do it that way. One can do it that way. So you think of people you know in your life and say, how would they have responded in the same situation? And you start getting some clues. Oh, maybe I can be a little bit more patient. Or maybe I can write my thoughts instead of just saying my thoughts. But when I say them, they come out all wrong. But if I write them, I'm a little bit more tuned in. Maybe I can center myself, whatever way maybe some people do yoga, some people do deep breathing, some people walk in nature. Whatever way centers you, maybe you meditate. And then I'll go into that situation. So I'll be 2% calmer, 2% kinder, 2% more stable. So this is an opportunity for you to reflect. When you say, I don't know what to do, I don't buy it. I said, no, you're the expert in your life, actually. And you're not locked into, just because you have been reacting, it doesn't mean I have to always be reacting. So now you challenge yourself, and maybe you'll not change instantly. Maybe because of hearing this, you'll not immediately become a saint, or you'll be calm. It may not happen instantly, but you have begun questioning. Am I really a victim here? Because they have done this and that and the other, do I really have to behave like a puppet and just automatically get upset? Not necessary. You have autonomy here. Like we said, tap into your power. If you want love, tap into your power. You're powerful. And some way if the way you're saying things sounds like you're disempowering yourself. You're like, oh no, they have the power. They've done this, they've done that. I can't do anything. That's not true. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. You're more powerful than you imagine. Oh, yeah. Mahesh is Shiva, right? Maheshwari. So the Shiva energy in you is rising. But Shiva is not just the energy of destruction. Shiva is the energy of transformation. So don't do it sometimes you have to take strong action, but not to destroy, but to transform. And yes, once in a while, we will have to use strong words and strong actions, but that should be the last resort. First, we should have calm words and calm actions and calm. And when that doesn't work, yes, sometimes we do have to be very firm and very strong, but that should be the last resort. Your anger should not be cheap, in other words. Your anger should not be cheap. It should take a lot to provoke your anger. And it should have to do with your values and your principles. Then it is legitimate sometimes to be even upset and angry, but it has to do with values and principles, not just for circumstances. Then your anger is very cheap. Then people actually, then they know how to play with your emotions. They know it's very easy to agitate you, upset you. And sometimes just for fun, they'll do it. And then you'll be upset with yourself. Why am I getting reactive so much? So you have to now put yourself in the driver's seat and say, is there a different way to respond in the same, assuming nothing changes, outwardly everything exactly the same? Can you behave differently? Can you think differently? Can you speak differently? Visualize that, emotionalize that, think it till you feel it. And there will be a change. May not be 100% change, there'll be a 10% change, there'll be a 5% change, there'll be a 2% change. And 2%, there'll be a complete transformation. So you've learned a few things today. Reflect on what we've shared today. Reflect on your own life experience. And there are many hints over there for how to approach the situation.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, Saloni. Thank you for joining. And we have Rita.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm so thankful. I was going to watch Netflix and then YouTube reminded me that there's a live session. I was looking everywhere. Where is the BB session? Where is the BB session? And I forgot all about it. And my husband said, stop, Nithya, and watch Netflix and sleep as you're not feeling well. I said, I'm not sleepy. He said, stop, Nithya, and sleep. But it was really a very light-hearted and a very powerful session. And what you said about two kinder, wiser, patient, 2% calmer. I feel when you were talking about the restaurant incident, I felt it has been a part of my life. And thanks to my husband, I learned from him. And also I realized that like when we check out from the hotel, can we be 2% or a little bit more kinder to the people, the staff who are going to clean your room, not to leave the room in a kind of a tsunami, like that, as if the tsunami came and you just left the room. And even when we go to a food court or anywhere, can we be a little bit kinder and leave the table a little cleaner? We don't know the person who's going to, he or she's going to come and clean the table. He or she might be having a bad day or something, and that thing really makes a lot of difference. This is what I have also noticed it here, a lot number of times. So yeah, so what you said, practicing intermittently, we don't need to be on a chair all the time. We can practice what you said. Like today I got it, like we can practice anywhere, and practicing doesn't mean that we have to meditate.
Yeah, beautiful.
We can make the teaching alive. That's all I can say. And like you said, that don't make your anger cheap. That was a line. That was the message. I think the Saloni asked that question for me, because I just get triggered for anything. So that was a very powerful line. I used to get, okay. Yeah. So that was a powerful line, that don't make your anger very cheap and just don't get triggered.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
I like how you've been summarizing everything in the chat that's been going on.
Yeah, because when I log in from the phone, I can type very fast, right? From the computer, I don't know how to type.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Lovely.
Thank you.
And we have Rashim. Is it Rashim? Rashim? R-A-S-H-I-M.
It's Rashim, Nithya.
Rashim.
Hi, Nithya.
Rashim.
Thank you so very much because, Rashim. So I have been following you for quite a while, and I'm just following your teachings and sharing everything. And that has made a huge difference. Small things. In fact, after reading your book also, the things I picked up from there. So I have been following, as you said, that intermittent Mayurma, that is sending Mayurma to everyone. Like I see when I'm going on road, when I'm driving, any just random acts of that. And that really helps you make that you're more conscious and all that. So that's really nice. And one of your teachings, like, I have everything I need as I need it. So that's become my mantra. Like, so whenever you're feeling like you are not content with this thing, or you want this thing to happen, so that comes to mind all the time, and you just repeat it as a mantra only. So thank you so very much. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you and gratitude for before this year gets over and the new year begins. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
And today's greatest takeaway was 2% being 2% kinder. That's a huge takeaway. Yeah.
So simple but powerful.
We all do in our own ways, but as you just put it in words, like, so that will stay. Like it has got somewhere deep inside. So it will definitely, like every morning we can just start with that. Like, how can I be a 2% kinder today? Yeah. So since I'm an educator, I just teach these things to my kids also, like doing like random act of kindness. So you just pick up a slip and then next day tell me what random act of kindness you did yesterday. Or I had made a box in my classroom like mad. So how were you mad? Made a difference to other people's life. So they just come and put like, I was mad, like I did this. So I was mad. So anyhow, without taking much of your time, thank you so very much. And sorry, I'm not being on video.
No,
I'm here in Canada, being in a lazy winter stormy morning.
हम भी New York में बैठे हैं, इतना दूर भी not so far away.
Oh really? So, but this time they have for 2 days they have predicted a huge snowstorm. So
yeah, I've heard there's a cold wave coming.
Yeah.
All the more reason to be kinder in the cold.
I know. I know. Anyhow, thank you so very much.
Love it. And we have Vidya.
Nithya. Thank you very much. And thank you for the community, because it seemed like everybody's question was a channel of learning today for me. It was like, going through a crash course of what you've taught this whole year and looking at how one could apply it in the next year. So coming back to my question, or rather an experience that I've been feeling lately is that when you said, why not demand? I've gone through periods of crisis where I just question the universe, God, according to your definition. But then I quickly find myself at a state where, what is this? I'm talking to myself. Whom am I questioning? Am I even fair in questioning? For example, like I start thinking like, oh, I don't do pujas. Coming back to the kind of, brought up with the family that I'm in. Then I start questioning, oh, that person can ask, oh, this person can ask, because they spend a lot of time in the day doing puja or chanting, knowing the meaning, mantras, but I don't even believe in that. So whom am I questioning? Am I even justified in questioning? And I stop there. So what you taught today was something like, well, I deserve, right? So it's not senseless. And the lesson that I got was it's sensible, and maybe that'll give me more power the next time I find myself in a crisis. I don't know if I'm trying to make a point in what I'm saying, but thank you.
Yeah, think of it like, kids have a right to ask, to call their parents and say, I need help. They don't have to chant their parents' name all day long. Imagine your daughter saying Vidya, 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 Vidya. Then I can that's like silly, She can ask you anytime she wants your help. It's totally fine. So we don't have to be doing major puja part and going to temples and this and that. You are a child of the universe. You're a child of eternity. You are eternity dipping its fingers into this illusion of change and temporality. You are temporarily forgetting your true face. Actually, you're only asking yourself. In the highest sense, there is nobody else you're asking. It is your own self. You are actually communicating with your own highest self. There cannot be a separation between you and that. So now, whether you do, some people get joy out of mantras and chanting and rituals and pujas and pilgrimages. Wonderful, good for them. But that's not necessary if that's not what's coming. In your own way, you are a school teacher and you are helping so many kids. That is no less of a puja. That is no less of a worship. You are inviting them to see their own goodness. You're inviting them to hone and own their own skills and gifts. That is no less of a puja than someone sitting and doing mantras and all of that. You're honing the next generation. You're helping them be, good boys and girls, and more than good, wise. Good, it goes beyond good and bad. To really own the fullness of who they are, know the fullness of who they are. So you're right, we are all very worthy. And one of the biggest diseases in our planet is unworthiness. Very few people are not affected by this. There's an unworthiness that pervades everybody. Self-hatred, self-judgment, self-denial. And so it's a very radical thing to say in this world, I am enough. I am as I am. I accept myself as I am. It's a radical thing. In a world that's trying as hard to say, no, you're not enough. Who are you to say you're not enough? You're nothing. So no, I am enough. And it's like the same, think of the attitude of the Buddha when he touches his fingers. He doesn't even bother responding to Mara. Just touches it. Look at the dignity in that. He just touches his fingers and says, Prithvi Sakshi. Like, I'll not even waste my breath arguing with you. It's such a ridiculous thing you've said. How do you deserve to sit there? Just touches his finger. The earth is witness. The earth knows. So in the same way, you carry that dignity with you. Of course, I'm worthwhile. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. Right?
Thanks.
And remember that when you wake up in the morning, the whole world wakes up. You think you're a part of the world, but in many ways, the world is also a part of you. You think you're dependent on the world, but in many ways, the world is also dependent on you. When you're in a sour mood, the whole world goes sour. When you're in a bright mood, the whole world gets bright. So you're not just in the world is in you. And there's a very mysterious connection here. There's a very mysterious synergy here. In is out and out is in. It's backwards in some ways. So as you recognize these things, it is automatically a sense of what was earlier seen like a big problem and a big confusion, it actually seems like a big joke. All of it seems like one gigantic joke. And then you wonder, what is this? Like a big joke I've played on myself. I've played a massive joke on myself. So at one level, you're very angry with yourself. What is this joke? I've troubled myself so much with this. But the other level, you find, okay, like practical joke. Fine, I get it. So you laugh and you also have compassion. You have compassion for yourself for falling for it for so long. Like someone has become a Buddhu for so long. But on the other hand, you also laugh. Okay, I get it. It's all a big joke. Lovely. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Alifia. Is that how you pronounce it? Alifia. Go ahead.
Hi, Nithya. I'm so thankful to you. I have been following your teachings on and off. So today I'm so glad that I joined, because I was today is my birthday, so I had a party last night, and so I was like comparing myself, or I wanted to be perfect, in every way that when we give parties. So like I was in that kind of a feeling like, oh, I want to be perfect, or I want to do this, I want to do this. But your teaching today came very handy for me. In fact, I was also, since morning, I was writing down to last, like, a minute of the things that I was feeling since yesterday. And your teaching that Buddha said, like, when somebody said that, oh, who are you to be enlightened, and then Buddha touched the finger of the Mother Earth, that was so touching to me, that yes, I am good enough in my own self. I don't have to prove to anybody, right? So that is amazing teaching, and I'm really what I learned today is I can be 2% better every day. I can be 2% better about my, towards the kind towards my own self. To be the kind towards my own self, I can be 2% more kinder to myself and also to others as well. So yes, thank you so much for your teachings always. I really, I'm here in US and I really wanted to see you, but somehow it didn't work out.
Next time.
And I was like, I was telling my husband, oh, Nithya is right now in New York, or Nithya is in New Jersey. One of my friends, I sent her your, all your plan and everything. I said, see, I cannot come, but you go, you really don't know what you're missing to be there. I pushed her, but she didn't make it.
So many blessings to you on your birthday, and may
you.
you get in touch with that part of you that is ageless and timeless. And at one level, of course, we are a body and we are a mind, but there's something enough that is eternally youthful, eternally energetic, eternally curious, full of wonder. So may you be in touch with that, and may you have a beautiful year coming ahead. Lots of love from all of us here.
Thank you so much, Nithya. Thank you so much. Your blessings means a lot to me. Thank you so much from my heart, from my soul to yours. Thank you so much. Thank you. Each one of you. Thank you.
And D is the last one before we end. Go ahead, D.
Hi, Nithya. So I quickly asked this question where you said about how can I torment myself less. I remember you said, okay, and I was telling you about how I was feeling yesterday. It was pretty awful, probably connected. And I was like, why? Like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing positive affirmation. So I continued to do, some, and I was oscillating between, feelings of anger and hate, and then suddenly switching over to, may they be blessed, may they be blessed. And then again, I'm oscillating between, oh, they did this, that grinding feeling in your head, and then versus, may they be blessed, may they be blessed. So at some level, I felt like hypocritical. Under se to I'm feeling like this. But so that was one. And the second is, I also felt somewhat guilty because it was a working day. And I felt like I'm stealing time away from my employer, because mentally I was really not there. I was physically there, but mentally I was so tormented in my head. And so that was like, like I'm half-heartedly here. I'm not really doing it to my employer. And so my question is, how is it like, I remember there is this thing which is like, instead of being in a state or the slide which takes you down, down, down for 8 hours, whereas going into first gear,
What happened?
then
I can't hear you.
second gear, and then that process also is very, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm saying that pendulum of feeling angry towards somebody and then again sending metta bhavna, karuna bhavna, brahma vihara, like, I'm really trying to put myself in that practicing state, and definitely it helps. But I'm saying, how can I stop tormenting myself to an extent where my pura din hi usi sthiti mein nikal gaya? I felt like
I feel you're being too tolerant with your outbursts. Actually, you're being too tolerant of outbursts. You should make a commitment for the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Zero negativity, zero outbursts. Zero outbursts. You will drink that poison. Whatever is going on, you'll drink the poison. You'll digest it first, and then you'll talk about. Yes, you may have something very valid to say, but not on an outburst. Not in losing your cool. So you come to you said, I will drink the poison. I will digest this unpleasantness inside of me. So like as monks, we have some very clear rules about how we can communicate with each other and how we can express. So there are, and for example, sexuality, monks have very strong rules about not having any kind of sexual contact. Now that doesn't mean you don't feel sexuality. You will feel sexual attraction, you will feel sexual thoughts and feelings. But there's a very clear boundary that as a monk, you don't do that. So you have to learn to process those feelings. It's not just suppressing, it's processing. How do you process those feelings inside of you to be a monk? So same thing that happens with sexual desire has to be then applied to anger, upset, feeling off, feeling all of those things. So some of us, because we see there are a lot of bad examples around us of people, losing their cool, and we think, okay, that's fine. Actually, it's not fine. We should aim for a zero negativity relationship. Zero negativity relationship. And that, of course, doesn't mean we will have negativity, but we will process that negativity. We will not allow it to come out into words and actions. Yes, you will have thoughts that are sad thoughts, angry thoughts, frustrated thoughts, but you will process it. And set yourself a high standard like that. Don't set a low standard. And of course, once in a while you may slip, but then you again reinstate yourself. Like for example, in my case, I put a pretty high premium on truth. I do my best to be truthful at all times. It's not that I'm always truthful. Sometimes I catch myself. Like I remember one time a cop caught me during lockdown, and I was not supposed to be out, but I had gone out. So he caught me. And before I could catch myself, I said my mom's in hospital. So he let me go. But I didn't feel good about that. I lied and I got away from that. Right? So he let me go, but I felt, no, that's not my standard. My standard is not to lie for such small things. That's not that. I hold myself to a higher standard. And okay, there's an inconvenience. He'll give me a challan of 500 rupees. Is my truth worth 500 rupees? I would rather pay those 500 rupees and not lie. So yes, I did lie, but something in me said, no, that's Nithya, you're bigger than that. You're bigger than that. This is not your standard. This is too low for you to lie over something so small. In fact, lie for anything at all. And if you can start lying for small things, tomorrow you'll be lying for big things. So then if my standard is truth, then I've got to live that standard. I've got to catch myself doing these things and no, it's not suitable. It's not okay. I can't let that pass. I've got to be better than that. I've got to be bigger than that. And that's how we rise. So you also raise your standard. Don't lose, like we said to somebody earlier today, don't let your anger be so cheap. Raise your standard. And in any case, that doesn't help. If it helped, we could still say, do it. It actually makes it worse. You get angry, they get angry. Now 2 days have gone, you're not talking to each other, you're sour. This is not worth it. You ruined your own mood, you ruined their mood, and now it's become harder to come back to a neutral place. It's not helping in any case. So it's not helping, it's lowering your own self-worth, your self-image, your self-respect. So we have to find better ways. And if truly you can't find a better way, then you change the situation. And if truly nothing is working at all, then you have to make a dramatic change in the situation that this is just not working. This job is not working. This relationship is not working. The circumstance is not working. This country is not working. it's just not working. Fine, then
Yeah.
change the situation. But until then, you set yourself to a higher standard. That's what I would offer you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Like monks, when we travel, we don't use money. And we're not allowed to ask for what we want. It has to be given. So I've had monks who have traveled international flights, sometimes long layovers in airports.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, normally airports do have free water faucets, but sometimes some airports, it's not working. I've had monks be thirsty for 12 hours. They'll not drink water because, there's water all around. If they ask someone, could you buy me a bottle of water? I'm sure they will. Could you lend me some water? I'm sure they will. But they're not allowed to do that. They said, all right, people be thirsty. And that's a higher standard. It's something so simple. Water should be available to everybody. But sometimes the airport doesn't have free water. You have to buy water. If you don't have money, you can't buy it. So all right, then we should be thirsty. This is a higher standard they're setting for themselves. So you set yourself a higher standard, it builds your character, and you can go through life. You're not so easily shaken by small things.
Mm.
And then mysterious things happen. I had this monk who was literally thirsty for 12 hours. And someone, total stranger, comes up to him and says, would you like a bottle of water? These things happen. Amazing things like this happen. You don't even ask for it. You like a bottle of water? You need something? If they ask you, then you can ask. You're not allowed to yourself go up to someone and ask for it. So when you do these kinds of things, you tap into higher, like I said, you think you're a person, a body and mind. No, you're not. You're part of an ecosystem. You're interbeing. You're not just being, you're interbeing. The universe will lean towards you when you have a little bit more self-restraint. When this is the fascinating thing. When you curb your desires, the universe wants to give you stuff. It's fascinating. Like, what can we give you? What can we give you? Like, no, I don't need anything. But what can we give you? What can we give you? That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
People are craving to give you stuff. The world is craving to give you stuff. When you stop asking for stuff. It's the other way around. Opposite of what you expect. So tap into this higher. It's now you've played the low game long enough. Set yourself to a higher standard. Rise up to a higher standard. Very nice. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining today. And let's make a Mayurma together. Take your hands up. Make a nice big heart in the air. Multiplied by infinity 3 times. At the heart. And say together, Mayurma. Beautiful. All right, everybody. Why don't you say goodbye on the way out?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Nithya.
Thank you, really.
Nithya.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Nithya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Good
Nithya.
day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nithya.
Bye, Nithya. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.